Yeah,
OBS.
yeah, I'll shift it. I know. Change the screen. Huh?
It has started there in the YouTube.
Okay. Hello guys, welcome to today's post-market updates. So we witnessed a quite a reddish sentiments in the market today in all three Nifties, and we'll quickly jump on to the Nifty. We'll start with the Nifty 50. So we'll have a quick look at what we have analyzed in the pre-market and what happened exactly in the market as of today. So I'll just quickly mark the levels which we explained in the pre-market live. So we analyzed the market movement, or the market analysis was done with respect to the pivot point as I explained in the morning session. So we will quickly mark the pivot point for the Nifty level today, which I have said in the pre-market update. So 25,917, so nearly 25,920 was the pivot line for the particular day. So we anticipated that any movement particularly above this particular level, which is a 920 level, was the pivot point for this day. So in the first initial 30 minutes, you can see that it clearly had a particular breakout from this level. So let's change it to 5 minutes. So you can clearly had that in the morning itself with the 5-minute candle. If you see that with respect to the price action, it had a good volume, but gradually after that, this particular breakout, it didn't sustain above this level. So with respect to that, in the morning itself we have marked other two S1 and etc. So we clearly explained that any movement below this particular pivot line would lead to our in a bearish sentiment. So the continuation of bearish sentiments will be happening below this particular pivot point level. I'll just quickly mark this pivot line so that we can understand clearly. So pivot line was PP line was particularly at 25,920. So any movement below this particular pivot level we consider as a bearish sentiments in the market, and it continuously fall after that, marking a low up to 25,711. So our two zones, bearish zones, were at so these were our bearish zones. I'll mark the coordinates. So S2 and S1, support 1 and support 2 were considered as the bearish zone for the day. 25,800 was our support 1, and support 2 was at 25,700 was our support 2. So if you have a quick look at it, we can clearly see that this particular after this bearish trend, after coming down below this particular pivot point, it gradually dropped and it test our support 1 and S1 and S2, and nearly we captured the points nearly S1 and S2. So any movement below this particular pivot line, we considered it as a bearish sentiments in the market, and gradually it had a good volume. In the first session, it gradually came up to our S1 and S2. So if you look into the RSI part, let's have a quick look at the RSI. So in 1 day time frame, if you see the RSI from yesterday itself, it after marking the particular high at 73, it reversed and now it is trading below 60 also. So in neutral sentiments in the market, even though the bearish trend is continuing, a neutral sentiment can be witnessed near to this particular 50 level of 50. It will be considered as a neutral sentiment. So as of now, from the high, after marking high at 73, it gradually dropping. The RSI levels are also dropping, indicating and supporting the bearish sentiments in Nifty. So initially we could have pulled a trade from this particular breakout of 15 minutes range. So if I have changed it to the 15-minute range, so this high and this particular low could have been marked by today and we could have considered an entry breaking down below this particular level with a high volume. So high volume validation is must in particular breakout entries. So if we have a better volume in this particular point, we can take a better entry in this. And if you see this, you can clearly see that it have nearly came up to our near to our support 2, which is at 25,700 levels. So these support were achieved today. So in a bearish market, in a bearish movement, in a bearish trade, we could have gained much profit in this way. So these are the levels for Nifty as per our morning's pre-market analysis. Let's move on to Sensex, because Sensex merely mirror Nifty's movement rather than Bank Nifty. Let's move on to the Sensex part. So with respect to Sensex, if I say the morning levels, pivot point levels were nearly at pivot level was at 84,550 was our pivot point level for the day. So similar to Nifty, you can clearly see that in the morning, first session, first initial hour itself, it had a proper breakdown above this, but it didn't sustain in this particular candle, 15-minute candle. You can see that the volume was pretty less, and the bear market was taking control over the bull sides. So you can clearly see the price action in this particular candle, and similar to the Nifty, it also gave a proper downside movement with respect to your support 1 and 2. So I'll mark the support 1 with respect to our pre-market analysis. Our support 1 was at 84,200 was our support 1. 84,200 was our support 1, and support 2 were at 83,950. 83,950 was our second support. So if you see that in Sensex, it clearly came up to our support 2, and even if we had a proper entry at this particular level, when it gave proper volume in the candle, you can clearly see that a proper bearish volume was in the candle. If you would have taken entry, you could have easily ride up to our support 1 and 2 levels for this particular day in the Sensex. So if we look into the RSI of Sensex, it's similarly to the Nifty. It is mirroring Nifty. It clearly made a high up to 72 levels, and it is reversing back, and it is nearly closed at 57. So indicating and supporting our bearish trend in the market. So at next level, we can expect a move up to this 80 to 200 levels, which it can take support and reverse back. But this can only be validated with respect to the volume to the market. So whatever volume brings down to the downtrend, we can validate this particular move to the downside. So these are the levels which we have analyzed with respect to our pivot point. Our pivot point was at 84,550. So we clearly got our first target to the downside, which was at 84,200, which is our S1, and S2 was at 83,950 levels was our S2. So we clearly got both of the target for the day. So this is with respect to the Sensex part, and we will quickly move on to Bank Nifty. Nifty Bank. So I'll just take the levels of Bank Nifty, which we have explained today in the morning. So with respect to Bank Nifty, what exactly happened? It had a mixed sentiments. Similar to yesterday, if you see that it properly maintained above the support one of yesterday's with respect to the pivot point. So today, our pivot point for Bank Nifty was nearly at 58,120 was our pivot level. 58,120 was our pivot level for the day. Was our pivot level. So it's similar to the other two Sensex and Nifty. It also had a proper breakdown, but in the second candle, if you see that, it was purely bearish side. So the candle turns out to be bearish, and after that particular green candle appeared, and it continuously started falling. But in this case also, if you mark the support 1 and 2 for Bank Nifty for the day, there is a change rather, so there is not a similar movement similar to the other Sensex and Nifty. So I'll mark today's S1 and S2. 57,900 was our 57,900 was our S1 and S2 was at 57,800. We had a small range for that particular day. If you see that properly, it came below this both of these levels. So even though there was a mix, even HDFC was also running in red for the day. So the third support was at 57,580. Let's mark it at 57,600 if you see. So these were the levels. It almost gave a low nearly at 57,650. So the banking sector was really dragging the market today. So if you see properly, so these were this was our pivot point. With respect to this, we could have ridden Bank Nifty for the day on a bearish trend, and both our support 1 and support 2 and first and second target were achieved in the Bank Nifty, and it gave a good movement up to this 57,660 level and reversed back to this particular point and closed at 57,780. So a mixed sentiment was observed in Bank Nifty, even though it dragged overall. So these are the three levels, and these were the three market movers for the day. And we will have a quickly look at the top gainers and top losers in top gainers NSE. So as similar to yesterday, today also we have a downtrend in the pharma sector. If you see, the gainers were nearly the bail almost 3.9% move it came, and Coal India also as similar to yesterday, it had a positive movement. L&T also similar to the day yesterday, the positive movements were happened only to the similar stocks which moved yesterday itself. So if you come into this particular top losers for the day, you can clearly see that the banking sector as well as the pharma sector were losing today. So these two segments dragged the market today down today. So many quarterly results were also published today. With respect to that, many of the stocks were falling down today, which dragged the market for the day. So these are the, so we will have a quick look at the Canara Bank. So Canara Bank recently gave a post yesterday to nearly moved almost 5% and above. Canara Bank. So if you see in this particular case, after this positive Q2 result, it gave a good movement above. So yesterday also, if you see that particular stock have given 3% plus above movement, and then today also again 3% movement have been witnessed in the Canara Bank. This is due to this positive Q2 result published recently. So in banking sector, Canara Bank had a great run for the past 2 days, and this will be continuing. It marked a high up to 139 today. So it's also above this particular previous day closing. It closed above this particular level. So I expect Canara Bank to move up furthermore, and we have a good support at nearly this particular point. This can be 128, can be considered as a good support point for the short-term basis. We can consider this level as a good support in this. So that's for today's post-market live. So I'm winding up for the day, and thank you guys.